Have you ever felt like life is pressing down on you? Like no matter how hard you push, you keep sinking deeper? You chase success, love, happiness, approval, anything that feels just out of reach. And yet the harder you push, the more it slips through your fingers. Every day becomes a grind. Every night leaves you restless. You wake up exhausted, already bracing for the struggle ahead. And somewhere deep inside, a quiet voice whispers, there has to be an easier way. But when you try to listen, it's drowned out by the chaos of effort, by the constant need to control, to force, to make things happen. What if the problem isn't life? What if the problem is you trying too hard? Not in the way that discipline or effort is wrong, but in the way that your mind fights itself, in the way you push against the current instead of moving with it. You've been trained to believe that struggle equals progress, that exhaustion equals accomplishment, that life rewards the relentless. But when you look closer, every bit of tension you carry, every desperate grasp for control, only creates more friction. It's as if the harder you reach for life, the more life pulls away. And the irony stings. You've been trying so hard to make life easy, but that very effort is what's making it heavy. Imagine for a moment letting go. Not of your dreams, not of your goals, but of the need to force the world to bend to your will. Imagine feeling the weight lift, not because things suddenly became simple, but because you stopped standing in the way of life itself. When you stop gripping so tightly, when you stop resisting the natural flow, suddenly moments of clarity appear. Opportunities that once felt blocked or unreachable start to emerge. Doors you didn't even know existed begin to open. Life in its strange, uncontainable way begins to move in rhythm with you instead of against you. It's not laziness, and it's not giving up. It's a subtle shift, a quiet understanding that you cannot command the river to run faster. You can step in, float, and allow it to carry you. Your efforts don't vanish. They transform. The energy you spent struggling, resisting, stressing, it begins to work with you instead of against you. You notice things you never did before, the small gifts hidden in everyday moments, the unexpected connections, the spontaneous laughter. Life begins to breathe, and you finally breathe with it. The relief is almost shocking. You realize that all this time you've been sprinting through a path that was already wide open, already waiting for you to simply walk without fighting it. And here's the secret that feels almost too simple to believe. When you stop trying so hard, life doesn't punish you, it rewards you. Your mind stops spinning in circles, your heart stops racing. You begin to notice a rhythm, a cadence, a flow that existed all along but was drowned out by your effort. The world doesn't need to be conquered. It simply exists, as do you. And in that existence, in that surrender to what is, something powerful happens. You find yourself aligning with moments, with people, with possibilities that were invisible when you were straining against the current. The tension that once defined every decision, every step, begins to dissolve. You start to move with ease. Challenges no longer feel like walls but like currents to navigate, to learn from, to glide through. Your perception sharpens because your mind is no longer clouded by friction. And the beauty of it is that this ease, this flow, doesn't require extraordinary circumstances. It doesn't ask for perfection. It asks only that you stop resisting and allow life to unfold. You begin to see the subtle patterns, the quiet signals, the simple truths that were always there. And in that space, in that letting go, you realize something profound. Life was never meant to be a struggle. It was meant to be experienced, moment by moment, with your mind clear, your heart open, and your spirit unburdened. Everything changes when you stop trying to force the outcome. The world becomes less heavy. You feel lighter, freer, more alive. And it's not magic. It's understanding. It's a choice to step out of the endless battle, to release the tension, to trust the flow that has been there all along. The peace, the clarity, the unexpected joy. It's not waiting somewhere else, it's waiting inside you, in the space you create when you stop forcing, stop pushing, stop straining. And the reward is immediate, tangible, and transformative. Life becomes easy, not because it changes, but because you finally stop standing in its way. Once you feel that weight lift, that tension dissolve, you begin to notice something terrifyingly simple. The harder you try to control life, the more it slips through your grasp. Every plan, every calculation, every forced step has been a barrier, a subtle sabotage. And now, standing in this space of clarity, you realize that all the struggle was unnecessary. Every sleepless night, every anxious moment, every ache of frustration was not shaping your destiny. It was clouding it. The truth hits with a quiet force. The world does not respond to force, it responds to alignment. Your resistance has been the real obstacle. And the moment you understand this, the world seems to pause, as if holding its breath, waiting for you to let go. You can feel it, the pulse beneath the chaos, the rhythm you've been deaf to. It's always been there, beneath the noise of effort, beneath the fear of failure, beneath the relentless push. And now, finally, you begin to tune in. You notice how the simplest actions, those done without desperation, carry far more weight than the frantic labor of your old self. A calm mind sees paths that a frantic one misses. A relaxed heart attracts the right people, the right opportunities, the right moments. And the urgency grows because you realize this ease is not accidental. It is accessible now if you choose to step into it fully. You can feel the difference in every breath, in every thought, in the subtle way life itself responds to a surrendered will. The stakes become painfully clear. You have been running on a treadmill, chasing illusions of control, exhausting yourself while life passed by. Every day spent forcing, every moment spent resisting, has been time lost in the richest, most fertile space available to you. And yet, here it is, the power to change everything. Not by pushing harder, not by fighting, but by stepping out of the struggle. This is not just philosophy, it is survival, not just insight. It is the map to a life lived fully, not fractured by constant resistance. The call is immediate, the clarity unavoidable. You cannot afford to go back to old habits. They will only weigh you down again. And there is a fire that begins to grow inside, subtle at first, almost imperceptible, until it demands attention. It whispers that you can navigate life differently, that you can stop trying to force outcomes, and, in doing so, let the world unfold in its natural, magnificent way. You start to notice the opportunities that were always there, hidden behind the haze of effort. Doors you had tried to kick open with stress and worry now swing open gently, effortlessly. People respond to you differently. Situations unfold more smoothly, and a strange magnetic energy begins to replace the tension you've carried for so long. Life starts to feel like a conversation rather than a battle, a dance rather than a struggle, a river you float upon rather than a wall you climb. Every thought, every action, every moment carries a heightened weight now because you know what is at stake. The ease of life, the richness of experience, the clarity of mind. You can feel it pressing, demanding that you pay attention. Nothing is wasted here. Every insight is a tool, every realization a key. You begin to see the illusions clearly: control, force, pushing, striving. They were never the path. The path was always under your feet, waiting for your surrender, waiting for your trust, waiting for the moment you would let life flow through you instead of against you. And then comes a revelation so simple it shocks. The moment you stop trying to bend life to your will, life starts to bend with you. The currents that once felt threatening now carry you forward. Challenges become invitations. Pressure becomes momentum. Fear becomes awareness. And in that shift, you understand something your old self could never have imagined. Ease is not passive. It is power refined, energy liberated, potential unleashed. You have everything you need to move forward, to step into this flow fully, to leave behind the chains of struggle and claim the freedom that has been there all along. It is yours, waiting, if only you will let go. Now that you feel the current carrying you, the urgency sharpens. You realize how many moments were wasted fighting against life, how many hours spent wrestling with circumstances that never asked for your resistance. Every attempt to force an outcome, every sleepless night, every anxious thought, they have all been illusions of control. And yet, here, in this surrendered state, you see what was hidden before. The world responds to presence, not pressure. The energy you release by letting go becomes the force that moves mountains, opens doors and draws people, opportunities and clarity into your orbit. The stakes are higher than you imagined, because this is not just a technique or a mindset. It is the difference between exhaustion and vitality, between scarcity and abundance, between a life of constant struggle and one of effortless flow. The tension you carried for so long begins to dissolve into something sharper, something more powerful. You see the patterns you missed, the signals you ignored, the moments you let slip because your mind was too busy forcing outcomes. Every interaction, every decision, every fleeting chance now carries weight because you understand the principle beneath it all. Stop pushing, stop resisting, and life aligns. The urgency builds because you know the world will not wait. Life is moving with or without you, and each moment you cling to struggle is a moment lost. Every second spent in resistance is a second you could be experiencing clarity, ease, and the kind of forward motion that feels almost effortless. You begin to feel the true cost of pushing too hard. The anxiety, the exhaustion, the frustration, they are not necessary. They are consequences of a mind trying to impose its will on reality, instead of observing and participating. The realization hits like a shock. Everything you have been taught about effort, about earning, about striving has been incomplete. Struggle alone does not create results. Force alone does not create progress. What creates impact, what creates breakthroughs, what creates moments of pure alignment is your ability to step out of the fight, to let life unfold, and to act from that calm center. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. The clarity burns inside you, impossible to ignore, impossible to forget. The stakes rise further because this understanding demands action. The choice is not theoretical. You can continue on the treadmill of effort, living each day drained, frustrated, and fighting invisible walls. Or you can step into this flow, use your energy with precision, and move through life with a power that feels effortless, because it is aligned. You realize that ease is not weakness. It is the sharpest tool in your arsenal. It cuts through chaos. It dissolves tension. It turns resistance into momentum. You feel it coursing through your body now, a subtle but undeniable force, urging you to release what is unnecessary, to trust what is essential, and to act in harmony with the currents around you. You can feel your perception sharpening. The obstacles that once seemed insurmountable are now invitations. The friction that once held you back becomes feedback. Every challenge, every problem, every moment of tension now carries a hidden lesson, a hidden advantage, a hidden way forward. And the urgency intensifies because this is not a promise of a distant future. It is available now. The clarity, the energy, the effortless movement, they are within reach if you dare to step fully into this new way of being. You can feel the ripple effect already beginning. Your thoughts, your actions, your presence, they all carry more weight, more influence, more life than ever before. The truth settles deep inside you, undeniable and electrifying. Life is not meant to be a battle. Struggle is optional. Force is optional. And when you release them, everything changes. The pace quickens, the stakes rise, the impact grows. You can sense it. The life you have been chasing has been waiting for you to stop chasing it. It waits in the quiet, in the surrendered moments, in the alignment between effort and flow. And now, with the choice before you, with the clarity burning in your chest, you realize that the moment to act is not tomorrow, not later, not when the world finally cooperates. It is now. The path is open, the river is moving. And if you step fully into it, you will find a life that feels astonishingly effortless, deeply fulfilling, and entirely yours. You feel it now, the pulse of life moving through you, waiting for your surrender. Every struggle you've carried begins to make sense, not because it was necessary, but because it led you here, to this moment of clarity. You see that pushing harder never made things easier. Striving desperately never created breakthroughs. It only buried you deeper, blinded you, trapped you in a loop of exhaustion and frustration. The real power has always been in the release, in the stillness, in the willingness to let life flow through you, instead of forcing it to obey your expectations. The stakes are immense because this is not theory. It is survival. It is freedom. It is the difference between a life half-lived and a life fully embodied. Every heartbeat now feels sharper, every breath deeper. You can feel the energy shifting inside, as if all the friction and tension that held you down is being stripped away, layer by layer. Your mind begins to see paths that were invisible before. Doors that seemed locked now stand open. People, opportunities, even circumstances respond differently, because you respond differently. You are lighter, clearer, more present, and that presence is magnetic. It draws in what you need without struggle, without force, without desperation. You realize that every moment spent resisting was a moment lost in the richness of what could be, and a fire ignites inside you, a refusal to return to the old ways, a determination to step fully into this new reality. The urgency grows because the clock is relentless. Life does not wait. Every day spent forcing, every hour spent wrestling with circumstances, is time stolen from the life that is available right now. You feel it pressing against you, the choice you must make. Continue the old cycle of struggle or embrace the flow and step into the power of ease. The difference is stark. One path leads to exhaustion, frustration, regret. The other leads to clarity, impact, fulfillment. And the path of flow is not passive. It demands awareness, courage, and trust. It demands that you act, but act without forcing. Act with alignment. You sense the magnitude of this truth, the scale of possibility now within reach. You notice how every challenge, every obstacle, now has a hidden rhythm, a lesson, a way forward that was invisible when you were pushing. Resistance itself becomes information, not a wall. Tension becomes a signal, not a punishment. The universe is speaking to you in subtle ways, through the currents of events, through the timing of meetings, through the alignment of opportunities. And the clarity you now possess allows you to hear it, to respond with precision, to move through life with a confidence that feels effortless, but is powered by awareness. You understand that this is the real advantage, the edge no struggle can buy, the ability to act from calm, to create from alignment, to live fully without being trapped by constant tension. The fire inside you intensifies. You feel the pressure to release fully, to trust fully, to step fully into the flow of life. Every second you hesitate is a second lost. Every moment of resistance is a chance wasted. You can see it. The life you have been chasing has been waiting for you to stop chasing it, waiting for you to stop forcing it, waiting for you to align with what already exists. The clarity is blinding. The stakes are urgent. The reward is immediate, tangible, transformative. You feel the pull to act, the pull to release, the pull to move with the current that has been beneath the struggle all along. And suddenly, it all becomes undeniable. Ease is not weakness. Surrender is not defeat. Trust is not passivity. They are the ultimate acts of power, the ultimate acts of freedom. They are the path to a life that is rich, expansive, and deeply aligned. You see it clearly now. Feel it deeply now. Know it in every fiber of your being. The struggle was optional, the force unnecessary, and the moment to step into the flow is now. Everything you want, everything you seek, everything you hope for is not waiting somewhere out there. It is waiting inside you, in the space you create the instant you stop fighting and start moving with life itself. You can feel it now, the full weight of possibility pressing against your chest. The world feels sharper, more alive, more immediate. Every sensation, every thought, every heartbeat reminds you that life is moving with or without your consent. The question is no longer if you will act, but how fully you will step into what is waiting. You begin to see the subtle ways struggle has held you back, the invisible chains wrapped around your energy, your focus, your clarity. And as you feel them loosen, a fire ignites, a recognition that the time to move, to release, to align is now. There is no tomorrow that will rescue you, no magic moment in the future. Only this breath, this choice, this flow. The urgency is relentless. Each second you linger in resistance is a second life is moving past you. You feel it in your bones, in the tension that has melted into awareness. The old way, the way of force, of pushing, of striving, is a trap. You have glimpsed the alternative, ease, flow, alignment, presence. And once you have glimpsed it, the stakes become crystal clear. To ignore this is to settle for exhaustion, for frustration, for a life half-lived. To embrace it is to step into power, into clarity, into a movement so effortless it feels like magic, even though it is grounded in truth. Every moment you hesitate, every thought you cling to fear or doubt, is a moment that could have been lived fully. You can feel the shift beginning to ripple outward. The way you move through the world changes instantly. The interactions you have, the decisions you make, the energy you carry, all of it begins to resonate differently. People respond, opportunities appear, situations resolve with a fluidity you never imagined. You realize that nothing is outside your reach, because the force you needed was never external. It was in your ability to release, to trust, to align, to act with awareness rather than desperation. And the more you surrender to this, the stronger you become. The more effortless it feels, the more power you wield. You see now that ease is not passive. It is the sharpest, most formidable tool you possess. The stakes climb higher with every passing second. You feel the weight of all those wasted moments, all those unnecessary struggles. You remember the sleepless nights, the anxious thoughts, the frustration that clouded your vision. And now, the clarity is unbearable in its intensity. You cannot ignore it. You cannot go back to the old ways. The fire inside demands action. The universe responds to alignment, to presence, to the willingness to let life unfold rather than forcing it into submission. The message is clear. Step fully into this flow, or continue carrying burdens that are not yours to bear. The choice is immediate. The consequence is unmistakable. The reward transformative. Every obstacle now becomes a signal. Every challenge an opportunity. You see the hidden rhythm in life, the patterns that were invisible when you were grasping and pushing. Friction becomes feedback, pressure becomes momentum, fear becomes awareness. Every moment carries a chance to act with power, clarity, and ease. And you know this is not a promise for the future. It is available right now, here in this instant. The alignment you feel is not fragile. It is potent, dynamic, unstoppable. Every second you step into it multiplies your presence, your influence, your impact. You realize that life has been waiting for this moment, for you to stop struggling, for you to start flowing. The fire inside you roars louder. You feel the unmistakable pull to release fully, to trust fully, to move fully into what is possible. The stakes are higher than ever. To resist is to wither, to surrender is to soar. Ease is not weakness. Flow is not passivity. Trust is not surrender. It is mastery. Every action you take from this space carries weight, clarity, and force. Life is no longer a battle. It is a river moving in rhythm with you. And now, with every fiber of your being awake, you understand. The moment to step into this flow is not tomorrow, not later, not when the world finally cooperates. It is now. The path is open, the current is strong, and the life you have been chasing has been waiting for your release all along.